Good morning. Today I'm going to be doing some backyard style ribs. I'm unlikely to trim a lot off them like I normally do with the ribs. I'm not going to do a St. Louis style, I'm just going to chuck them straight on. I've got some family coming over later and hopefully we'll have a good meal out of it. Okay, first thing we need to do is to make a good rub. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, or soft brown sugar, It don't have to be exact. And you can adjust these however to your taste. Next, I'm going to be using some Maldon sea salt. I'm going to have 2 tablespoons of the sea salt. I'm going to grind it a little bit. Can be a bit coarse. So what we're going for is a sweet and savoury type rub. I'm going to be spritzing with apple juice, and I'll be using Baby Ray's sweet honey barbecue sauce. Okay, so next on our list is teaspoon of the onion powder, and we've got a tablespoon of garlic powder, and we've got a teaspoon of celery salt. You need to go easy on the celery salt because it's very strong spice, but you've got to have a bit of it in there because it adds a nice additional flavour. Clean. Then we've got 4 tablespoons of our paprika. The paprika will do, it'll add some colour to our mix. And then finally, we take 2 tablespoons of the peppercorn, which I'm going to put into a grinder. Oh, look at that. Don't have to open up the spare one. Okay. Beautiful part with the idea I come up with, rather than using a hand grinder, I come up with the idea of using an old coffee grinder. You can grind them up and fine they're as coarse as you like. Check that. Yeah, that's good enough. Now I've got a nice, fresh, coarse peppercorn. Just pour it into a mix. Lo and behold, we have our mix. Let's mix it together. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, it's important. Get it all nicely mixed together. All those flavours are then fused with the meat. This is a sweet rub. So you can use it for chicken as well, but I would suggest only using it for cooking indirectly, not directly over heat, because the sugar will burn and give you a very horrible flavour. Very acrid. Ugh. So indirect only for this rub. This is my go-to rub for ribs, chicken, pork. Make sure I get all those mixed in. Now don't be afraid to taste the rub. That's really good actually. Good mix. Okay, now the next step is to prepare our ribs. You've seen me do that in another video, so I'm just going to fast forward to that. I'm going to take the membranes off and then we're going to apply our rub. It's, our first rib, and as you can see I haven't really trimmed these up very much. I'm only going for what we call a backyard type barbecue, so they're not for competition or anything. These are beautiful actually. I've got some good ribs today. They've got a little bit of fat on them, but a little bit of fat's fine because that's what's going to render and that's what's going to give you your flavour. I've taken the membranes off as well, as you can see. I don't want to bore you with that this time. So we're just going to put a nice liberal coat. Start with the back. Now you can leave the membranes on, but if you do, I would suggest you score them. Otherwise you're not going to get much in the way of your rub flavour in. Make sure you get all the sides. I absolutely love this rub I made. Goes so well with ribs. So don't be shy. Make sure you get all relevant spots. This isn't the presentation side. It still needs a good coat. I've left the tips in as well. I want to get as much meat out of these as possible. sometimes the sugar sticks. That's nice. Down. Now, this is our presentation side. Again, nice liberal coat. Don't be shy with the rub. You can take it. It's going to be in the smoke for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And I'm going to be using apple wood today. It's a nice sweet nutty flavour, which goes really well with the sweet ribs. You can just salt, pepper, garlic if you wanted to, or just simply salt and pepper. They're backyard ribs, so nothing, not for competition, so. That's one done. I might end up using most of this rub today. So that's our first one rubbed. Now, we've got a second one to do. Side. I've got a bit more fat on this one, as you can see. That's okay, it'll render down. I've cut off a lot of excess as well. But that fat is what's going to give you your moisture as well, so you don't want to overcut it. Rib. Actually, there's no corner cut rib. Get rid of that. Ready for that. Purely personal preference, that cut. When I have family over, I do like to put a bit of a show, just to show what I can do with the barbecue. But as you can call it, a bit of showing off, why not? Presentation side. I have kept all the wingtips and everything on. I do prefer to use a shaker. And this rub will keep for about a month in an airtight container. So even if you don't use it all, you've got some for your next cook. Try. Waste. Now this side is our meat side, so that's going to absorb most of that flavour. What we're looking to do is create a nice bark. And then roughly every half hour or so I'm going to spritz with some apple juice. Like I said, if you miss a bit or you see a little bit when you go to put it on the grill, that's fine, just top it up, a bit more rub. My friends, it's prepped. So I'm going to pop them in the fridge. They're going to sweat for a little bit, help that rub to adhere to it. Looks like the barbecue's already cold in. Nice. Currently at 229. I like to go between 225 and 235 on my ribs, especially when I'm going to be keeping them for about 2.5 hours or so in the smoke. So once I'm ready, once I've sweated up, I'm going to put these on at 11 and they should be ready hopefully by about 4, 4:30. Okay, the applewood's taking effect. Got a nice clear smoke coming out the barbecue, and my rub is pretty much adhered to our ribs. Open this up. What we're going to do, pop our ribs on. Quite large ribs these. Making sure there's a little bit of space between them. And how you place them on is how they're going to cook. Okay, and then we're going to leave these now for half an hour. And when we come back, I'm going to be spritzing. Okay, the first half hour is passed, so it's time to do the first spritz. Won't need too much this time because it's still quite moist. Just enough. The apple juice, what it does, it adds flavour. And also it helps to create that bark we're trying to create. I'll be back in another half hour or so, and every half hour just to make sure that they're coming along nicely. We'll be back. Okay, ribs have been on now for 3 hours. It's time to pull them off and get them in the foil and put them back on. These are quite large ribs. I've decided to give them the full 3 hours in the smoke. Okay, so what I do is I've got the brown sugar and the butter already in there. Now I'm going to pour some honey. And the idea is to go quite liberally with the honey because that produces an awful lot of nice flavour. I'm just going to use up what I've got left in this bowl. Honey is where your flavour is. It's a nice sweet. You take our rib, rib down, meat side down always. And we do the same again. Brown sugar, both sides. Butter. Don't need to go too mad on the butter. This is an unsalted butter I'm using. And the most important bit, honey for the money. It's all braised together nicely in the foil. And we're going to double wrap. We're going to use 2 layers of foil. Do it in such a way to make it easy for us to open it up. But also, you don't want to pack it too tight because you don't want to split the edges of the foil. You look quite good. Nice little bed sort of want to make. Brown sugar. Butter, which gives it a nice sheen. Always meat side down. You can use any type of braise you want. You can use apple juice, or you can use Coca-Cola, any flavour you wish. Since I'm doing these are sweet ribs, sugar and honey, what I want to see. Part is our runny honey. That's it. Honey for the money, baby. Ooh, yeah, it's going to be really good eating when it's done. Loosen the sides. And now we put them back on the smoker. Okay, ribs are now back on the smoker, and I'll see you when we're ready for the final part. Okay, so we're now ready to check our ribs. Checking for tenderness using our probe. This one. We've got some pullback on that. Almost there. Raise that back up. Check the other one. This one looks a bit better actually. Looks like this one may be done, and the other one what we'll do is give it another half hour or so. In foil. One of these. This one needs a little longer. We'll give them both about half hour, just so we can get that extra tenderness out of them. But it's almost there. Okay, our ribs are now fully cooked and really looking good and tender. They're going to be really tasty. We're going to take them off, cut them up, and do a taste test. Okay, the ribs are all done. Now it's time to do a taste test. They're really tender. So we got a nice smoke ring. Oh wow. That is incredible. So, without further ado, I'm going to tuck into these and thank you for watching.